A Sixers Rumors Roundup is coming your way on Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Senior. Hope all of Philly is having a fantastic week. Some really interesting trade rumors going into the February 10th NBA trade deadline revolving around Ben Simmons as well as Tobias Harris and a potential partner in the Sacramento Kings with De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Harrison Barnes. So we first hop into this report from the Sacramento Bee on De'Aaron Fox, who, according to this report, was not available previously but now is. A league source told the Sacramento Bee the Kings have stepped up their pursuit of Indiana Pacers big man Domantas Sabonis, and they are willing to include Fox in those discussions. Fox was so far off the table, he wasn't discussed when the Kings approached the Philadelphia 76ers about Ben Simmons last summer, sources with knowledge of the talks told the Bee, but now Fox is reportedly part of those conversations as well. So these trade rumors around De'Aaron Fox starting to get very, very hot with less than a month to go to the NBA trade deadline. And De'Aaron Fox is having a down year this year in terms of his shooting percentage, but he is among some of the very greats and some of the very good players as far as players who have averaged 25 points per game and 7 dimes at 23 years old. He did that last year. This year, as I mentioned, his number's a little bit down in terms of the points per game column and his shooting efficiency from the floor and three-point range, but this is of note. Oscar Robertson, LeBron James, De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young this year, players at 23 years old in that age 23 season to put up really good numbers at 25 points per and at least 7 dimes. Oscar Robertson, a Hall of Famer, so too is LeBron. And then De'Aaron Fox and Trae Young, two of the most exhilarating young guards in the NBA today. How about what Sam Amick had to say about all of the Sixers trade buzz going on? And really, this is fascinating to me. Could Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons both go to Sacramento? That's what Sam Amick said on The Athletic. Quote, "While I'm fairly confident that the Atlanta Hawks have zero interest in taking on both Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris in a John Collins-centric deal, the Kings appear to be considering the idea more seriously. With that being the case, it's then a matter of figuring out what the Sixers think of De'Aaron Fox and the various other pieces that could help them match those massive salaries, which is coming in at $67.5 million combined this year between Simmons and Harris. The deal could be done by adding Buddy Hield to the mix. He's on the books for a base salary of a little less than $23 million, and veteran wingman Harrison Barnes, who checks in at $20.2 million, but Philly would surely push for more. So if I'm Daryl Morey and I'm looking at trading away Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, I'm getting a really good young player back in De'Aaron Fox. Buddy Hield is one of the best outside shooters in the league. Then you get a modern-day 3-and-D guy in Harrison Barnes who can be more than a 3-and-D player because of his ability to put the ball on the deck a little bit, give you really good defensive upside, and you pair Fox, Hield, and Barnes up with Joel Embiid. I think that might make the Sixers roster better than it is right now without Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. We know Ben Simmons isn't going to play another game for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think I'm pretty sure in saying that. Tobias Harris is having a disastrous year. He's complaining about the fan base getting on him because he's the highest paid player on the roster, but he's not living up to those expectations. So if I get back Fox, Hield, and Barnes, and I get rid of those monster salaries for Simmons, Tobias Harris, and I'm bringing in 3 players, pairing them up with Joel Embiid, I think it makes the Sixers a more dangerous roster, a more well-rounded roster, and I kind of like it for Philadelphia. What do you think? Who wins the trade between the Sixers and the Sacramento Kings? Your opportunity to be a part of the show. Chime in, sound off in the comment section. Type PHI for Philly, SAC for Sacktown. Let me know who wins the trade in the comment section down below. Appreciate our sportsbook partner BetUS for making today's show possible. They're offering a 125% deposit bonus if you go to chatsports.com/bet and enter that promo code to my right, chat125. The divisional round slate in the NFL playoffs, absolutely loaded. Some really intriguing matchups. Titans, Bengals, Tennessee, 3.5-point favorites as a top seed in the AFC. I kind of like San Francisco getting 6 on the road against the top-seeded Green Bay Packers. Buccaneers, Rams, a rematch of a game that was really thrilling earlier on in the 2021 NFL season. And the game of the weekend, in my opinion, it's Chiefs, Bills. I kind of like Buffalo getting 2.5 points as the underdog there. Get your bets in, chatsports.com/bet. Enter the promo code CHAT125. Now, as I talked about a little bit earlier, De'Aaron Fox's numbers this year down from last year, but he's still having a pretty solid season. 21 points per game. He's not going to be a high-level creator like some of the prototypical point guards out there, but on the open floor, he really is exciting because of his speed and explosion. He's shooting around 45.5% from the floor, and the three-point numbers this year, dreadful. Can they improve with a change of scenery? In a winning environment? Potentially. But his shot has been broken this year. That's why I have some concerns. As for Buddy Hield, since coming into the league, he's been one of the best sharpshooters in the NBA, right up there percentage-wise with guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. The numbers don't lie. Now, when you look at the overall field goal percentage, you're like, only 40? That ain't great. But almost 39% from deep is pretty solid, 15.5 points per game on 13 field goal attempts per night. So he can go on a heater any given night. Sometimes he'll have those low nights. But look, that's what happens when a guy is chucking up so many shots from deep, and you surround Joel Embiid with some solid shooters, and that's what makes his talents even better and more dangerous because he can have more space to operate down low. That's been a part of the Ben Simmons problem, him clogging down the paint with Joel Embiid down in the trenches, and it helps you spread the floor and gives you another offensive weapon. As for Harrison Barnes, look, I think Harrison Barnes over time has become somewhat of an underrated player because he can really impact the game at a high level, offensively and defensively. He'll camp out around the arc. He can be a slasher. You can design some plays for him cutting to the basket, backdoor cuts as well. But look, he can let it fly from distance as well. And this year, he's always been a very good defensive player, but offensively, pretty solid numbers at 16 points per. Decent rebounder, 45% from the floor and almost 42% from distance. That's why when I look at this trade of bringing in De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, I like it for Philadelphia. Because how is Ben Simmons' trade value going to increase next year, next summer, and can you get a package like this back? I'm not really sure about that. So here's that trade idea once more. You get rid of Big Baby Ben. You send away Tobias Harris, good guy, really overpaid, solid player, getting paid as a great one, and then you get back in return De'Aaron Fox, a good point guard who could also play off ball, Buddy Hield, the ultimate floor spacer, and he really has a flamethrower from beyond the arc, and then Harrison Barnes, a very good two-way player as well. So speaking of those three guys, who is your favorite among those three? If it's De'Aaron Fox, type DF, Buddy Hield, type BH, Harrison Barnes, type HB. Get those votes in the comments section. Thanks for watching Philadelphia 76ers Now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue to ramp up our coverage heading into the February 10th NBA trade deadline.